welcome to another edition of Leading and Growing Your Real Estate Business. Coach James Short here, aka Shorty, and welcome to another show. Excited about our guest we have on today because he shares a very amazing name. But before we introduce James, I want to ask a little favor. There's a little button there. It's called subscribe. I'd love for you to click it because that's going to help me to increase the show depth, breadth, width, and everything else in between to attract even more amazing guests on the show. So simply subscribe. Do me a favor to help you. That would be much appreciated. On with the show. So who do we have today? Oh, very excited. Drum roll, please. James Thompson. James is best described by his clients as a consummate professional, honest, hardworking, and extremely knowledgeable, and undoubtedly the best real estate professional service provider around. James Thompson has been the agent of the choice for hundreds of clients when selling, buying, or leasing their property for over 12 years. Specializing in residential property sales in the city of South Perth and surrounds, James is a proven performer with an inevitable track record of results, consistently ranking him in the top 1% of real estate salespeople in Western Australia. Passionately focused on achieving the best possible outcome for every client, James and his team are always looking for opportunities to better the customer experience, giving you the absolute peace of mind throughout your real estate journey. A proud supporter and general sponsor of the local community where he grew up, attended school, and played sports, James is committed to building lasting relationships and continually giving back in his spare time. James loves spending time with his wife, Natalie, and their two children, Hugh and Isabel. For the very best personal real estate experience, trust your next move with James Thompson. Oh, how good was that, mate? So good to have you on the show today. Welcome. It's an honor and a privilege. How you been?
Yeah, good. Thank you. And thanks for having me. And thanks for the introduction. I couldn't have written it better myself.
Love it. So, mate, like 12 years ago, what was happening before you made the move into the industry? What was going on for you then?
Well, I have to admit that's a little bit out of date now. It's actually coming up to 18 years that I've been in the industry. So, yeah, look, it's more than half my life, or about half of my life that I've been in this industry. And to be honest, I wouldn't change it for the world. It's been a fantastic journey so far, and I'm excited about what lies ahead.
And if you remember that time 18 years ago when you first got into it, what was it like for you that back then? What was the things that you knew about the industry, but what were the perceptions about the industry back then?
Look, I was pretty naive. I was only 19 at the time, and so my understanding of the real estate industry was pretty limited. And I think that was a good thing because I didn't come in with any kind of presuppositions or any expectations about what the industry was like or what was involved in being a real estate agent. So I was just trying to be a sponge and learn as much as I could. And yeah, here we are 18 years later.
That's right. Where's that gone? All right. Where's that going?
Pretty quick.
What do you notice though? What are some of the big shifts and changes that you've noticed since your time in the industry? What's been those, I guess those things have had an impact on you, but also what you've seen within the industry?
Probably the part of the industry that stands out as having changed the most for me, if you put aside technology and the impact that now has on the industry and how we do business, probably the professionalism of the industry. And, whilst there is still a stigma and the industry does still have a bad name in certain areas, I think that the standard of agents individually and agencies and just the professional standards of the industry and the business has really come along in leaps and bounds. And I mean, that's a great thing because it really forces everybody to lift their own standards. And that can only benefit the consumer in whatever real estate transaction they might be doing.
So true. Where do you see it going though? So do you see it becoming even more professional? Like where based from the progression of where the industry has come from and where it is today, where do you see it in the future? Is there any specific? I mean, it's a crystal ball question, but where do you see it having the biggest impact or the biggest change? Do you feel?
I think that the greatest challenge that we'll face as an industry and as individuals within the industry, which is also a fairly exciting part of what the future looks like, is just maintaining that personal touch and that relationship factor to what we do, where obviously technology and more recently AI technology has kind of changed the landscape a little bit. I truly believe that, we really do add value to the transaction and to the lives of our clients in a meaningful way that technology can't replace. But I think it's important to make sure that relationships are at the forefront because it's easy to become a bit complacent, a little bit lazy when technology might be doing the work for you.
I think you hit the nail on the head in relations to the relationship factor. I think because that connection piece, I think it's still so important, and what people, clients, but also professionals yearn, and having that connection piece. And I think that can really help navigate the emotional side of things when dealing with transactions of a property where AI can't. AI is just give me the facts and hear it how it is. But as a person, that can really help to navigate that emotional state, particularly with your vendors and also with your buyers, to achieve a great outcome for all.
I don't think there's ever been a broader, sorry to cut you off, but just to that point, I don't think there's ever been a broader age demographic that is transacting real estate in some way, shape or form, whether they're tenants or landlords, buyers or sellers. We've got 18, 19, 20-year-olds. I don't know what they're called, Gen something, and you've got baby boomers and the others at the other end of the spectrum. And so it's important to understand how those individual demographics like to do business.
So true. And let's unpack that for a sec. So obviously in Perth, you're doing some great business over there. Talk to me about what's happening over in your market and what are you realizing? Because you've said, yes, I mean, we're in a current stage of age. You've got the 18s to 80-year-olds dealing transactions and buying, selling, moving and so forth. What are you noticing in your market at the moment?
Well, it's quite unbelievable what's happening here in Perth at the moment, and totally unpredictable. I think if you asked any real estate salesperson here in Western Australia about whether they could have predicted what's happening right now, they would have been lying if they said yes. So we've got the lowest recorded stock levels, I think, in, if not history, then certainly a very long time, just under 4,000 properties for sale. And at the same time, we've had population growth the highest in the country. 75,000 people come to Western Australia in the last 12 months. So, that is obviously a great position to be in if you're looking to sell a property. It's very challenging if you're looking to buy. If you're buying and selling at the same time, it's all relative. But our conversations are very different today about, how we can go about helping people make whatever move it is that they're trying to make. Than it has been for a very long time. And how we communicate with our clients is a little bit different too. I'm a personal believer that there's no better way to communicate with a client than face-to-face. That's not always possible. So after that, on the phone and using, text or email as kind of a last resort, because it really is an important decision for everyone involved.
And we've had talks about this in relations to people want to sell, but there's also fear of then what do they buy and where do they go? How are you navigating those types of conversations with people? Because it is like they get excited of the potential of what their place is worth, but then the fear comes up of like, yeah, but where do we go? Well, how are you currently navigating those types of conversations?
Well, it starts with being able to actually have the conversation in the first instance. And as I said, face-to-face is certainly my preference in how these conversations should be had, because there's a lot to unpack. And I think a lot of people that are looking to sell to buy again, in particular, or even those that are looking to sell and won't be buying back into the market, they probably aren't totally aware of all of the options that are available to them. So there's this trepidation at the moment of, yes, I could sell and achieve a great price for mine, but I've had a look and there's nothing for me to buy, so I just won't move. And there could be real missed opportunity in that. So we're sitting down with them and we're explaining to them that there is the option of selling now with a longer settlement or selling now with the potential to rent back. But essentially saying you can sell today to capitalize on favorable selling conditions in this market without necessarily having to move twice. It's quite surprising how many people don't understand necessarily that option is available to them. And so I think that's what people in my marketplace, and probably more broadly across the country, are looking for in real estate agents to represent them is, do they actually have an understanding of, or can they provide solutions to our individual problems, rather than just your standard put it on realestate.com, put up a sign, cross your fingers and hope for the best.
And re-looping back into changes and shifts in the industry, those eyeball to eyeball, belly to belly conversations cannot be done through AI. They're those powerful conversations where you're educating, you're making them aware, you're understanding their emotional, roller coaster on that transaction, because you're taking the time and explaining their options. Where do you see the market in WA going over the next 6 to 12 months? Do you know what are the sort of trends? Are you noticing that more stock levels are slowly coming on? Because you've had some a great first couple of months of the year. Where do you see it going over the next 6 to 12 months in your area, and I guess WA in general? Do you have any predictions around that?
Yeah, look, I've given up making predictions about the future in case I'm wrong, but what I'm forecasting at the moment, Shorty, is that there's just simply not enough stock available now to soak up the demand, or not enough, choice for the number of buyers that are looking to purchase here. And even if stock was to double, so we've got about 3,900 properties for sale in Western Australia, and 12 months ago that was 7,800. Even if it was to double, considering how many inquiries and inspections and offers we're getting on every campaign at the moment, that just tells me that we need probably 3 times as many listings as we've currently got to soak up that demand, or for supply and demand to be in balance. And so whilst that's the case, I guess simple economics, high demand, low supply, price goes up.
Yeah, very true. Very true. And you just don't know how long that will, what it can be X amount or X times X amount. So in relation to time frame around how long that will last. I'm interested about you personally, obviously being a professional agent in the industry, and obviously wearing many hats and going the ebbs and flows. To help to unpack for the listeners, working on your mindset, what are some of the things that you do to sharpen that sword, to stay ahead of the game, to really deal with the setbacks, but also to acknowledge the wins, and just to keep that mind sharp? What are some of the things that you do personally?
Yeah, look, I come from a background of professional sport prior to getting into the real estate industry. And so every professional sports team or every professional sporting person or athlete has a coach. And, for the benefit of our listeners, you didn't pay me to say that, but I think it's really important that you have somebody outside of your business, a mentor or a coach, that just helps to keep you on track, keep you a bit balanced. It's never as good as you think it is, and it's never as bad as you think it is in this industry. So trying to keep those kind of ups and downs or peaks and troughs in perspective, I think, is really important. It's very much an energy business, so making sure you've got high energy all of the time, and you can't have high energy all of the time unless you prioritize taking a break and recharging too. But probably the most significant change I made in my business quite a few years ago was bringing on other team members. Let's face it, you just can't be successful at just about anything, business or life, or in relationships, without having a great team, and a team that specialises in certain parts of the business has been probably a game changer for us.
Yeah, there's 2 things I want to grab. The first thing I want to grab from that is you mentioned about taking some time out. How do you've got your team hat on, you've got your sales professional hat on, you've got your dad hat on, you've got your husband hat on. How do you manage your time effectively so you show up with the right hat at the right time? What are some of the things that you do to manage your time effectively?
Well, I certainly don't do it perfectly. There's always room for improvement. And, because I'm highly competitive, like most real estate salespeople are, there's always this kind of pull to do business. But the most important thing in my life is my family, my wife and my children. And when I'm with them, I do my best to try and be as present as I can and try and turn the phone off, or at least turn it on silent, to avoid the distraction of not being totally present with them. But also understanding that, it is a highly competitive industry, and the demands of the consumer on us as real estate agents are pretty high, and they understandably should be. So, being available to them, making sure that they understand that I'm here for them when they need me, kind of irrespective of the time of the day or the day of the week, but also setting some boundaries around, when I might not be available to get back to them. And again, that's where team comes into it, because if one of my clients, or anybody for that matter, can't get me at any given time, then they can always get one of my team. So we're always available.
And that was, amazing. And that was the second point I want to bring up, is around team. What have been your biggest lessons around leading and growing your team? What have been some of them?
Well, as Deepak Chopra says, let it go. That's been the hardest part, I have to say, because I'm a bit of a perfectionist. But certainly you've helped me with that, and recognizing that, it's not something that I can do all on my own. And there's so many things that you could be doing as a real estate salesperson at any given time. It can be overwhelming, but there's really only a key few things as a lead agent that you should be doing. So I just go back to, what is my fundamental role in the business? What should I be doing, and what are my team capable of doing? And then giving them the freedom to be able to go and do it. And understanding that mistakes might be made along the way, but it's only a mistake if it's done twice. It's a lesson otherwise.
I love it. So true. So true. Some good lessons there. What's the future? What's the next, say, 12 to 24 months for you and the team? What does that look like?
Look, we're pretty excited about the growth trajectory that we're on. We recently joined about 2 years ago a new agency here in Perth. It's actually the number one office of all agencies in Western Australia. So for me, having been at my previous agency for 14 years, it was good to just get out of my comfort zone, be a small fish in a big pond again. I work with some amazing agents and some really good people that are great mentors for me as well. So I try not to, look too far into the future, to be honest. I just kind of try to take it day by day, week by week, knowing that there's things that have to be done every day and every week to get us to where we need to go. I think another team member in the next 3 to 6 months is inevitable for us, just so that we can continue to service our clients, at the standard that they expect from us, but also that we expect from ourselves.
Yeah, I love it. Fantastic. So on the show, we have a little quiz, the 60-second quiz, where we go a little bit personal to find out who is James Thompson. Okay. Are you ready to play?
Yep, go ahead.
All right, here we go. Favorite movie?
Point Break.
Oh,
the original.
One of the original OG.
Yeah.
Favorite food?
Ribs. Sticky pork ribs.
What's the sauce?
Don't know. That's a secret.
Favorite holiday?
I only say that because I don't know. I don't make it for myself. So
I love it.
I'll have to ask Natalie.
Favorite holiday destination?
Probably a place that I haven't been yet, as weird as that might sound. But the destination I'm most excited about is South Africa, and in particular, a safari. I'd love to go and do one of those pretty soon.
Sounds good. Do you have a morning routine? What is it?
As much as I can, within the limitations of kids and other things, I like to go and have a sauna and an ice bath a few times a week.
Nice. And do you have an evening routine?
Not something that I would necessarily think is quite stringent, but I like to be home ideally between 5:30 and 6 most nights, unless, of course, there's appointments that need to be done, so that I can get home for bath time for the kids and read them a book before bed.
Yeah, beautiful. And do you have a most embarrassing moment?
How long have you got?
Just one, just one.
Um, it's a nightclub story or a bar story, actually. I remember walking out of the Subiaco Hotel here in Perth. This is going back many years now. And as I was walking out, I dropped something. It might have been my phone or my wallet or something. And it was, kind of like as everybody was leaving. So there were lots of people behind me, and I bent over to pick it up and split a hole in my pants right down the middle. So I don't know if that's
Rightio.
appropriate for this
Yeah,
show,
yeah, no,
but
that's totally fine. Anything goes here.
you
Anything
told
goes
me
here.
nothing was off
Yep,
limits.
totally, totally fine. If you were to choose 5 inspirational people to have dinner with, they could be dead or alive. Who would they be?
Well, that's a tricky one. From a sporting perspective, I think that somebody that I've kind of always looked up to. I played a lot of rugby league when I was a kid, which is unusual for somebody from Western Australia. And as much for a laugh as for him sharing his experiences, probably Andrew Johns, one of my idols. Yeah, this is a tricky one. I'd like to have my wife there, of course. Let's say that just in case she listens to this. John Howard, interesting guy. I wouldn't mind having a chat with John. Kerry Packer, someone else I'd be interested to kind of chew the fat with and talk business with. And then I'd say probably Muhammad Ali.
Oh, good combo. Good mix. Good mix. Do you have a
I hope that
biggest
wasn't too cliche.
No, no, totally fine. Totally fine. Do you have a biggest regret?
Probably not growing my team from a business perspective, probably not growing my team earlier.
Okay, great. If you were Prime Minister for the day, what would be one thing that you would change?
The tax system.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one. And what's your
And
best
that's open-ended, so
I know,
I'll leave
right?
that open for interpretation.
And what's your best piece of advice?
Whether you think you can or you think you can't, either way, you're right.
Oh, I love it. Love
Henry
it.
Ford.
And so true. So true. How can the audience get in contact with you, follow you, watch your story or your journey? What's the best way?
Yeah, look, I'm pretty much an open book. So, look, if anybody ever wanted to reach out to me for a chat, my mobile number 0421 677 856 by email, or follow my social handles, which is James Thompson Real Mark, Instagram and Facebook.
Fantastic. James, it's an honor and a privilege to have you on the show today. Thank you for your time, your energy, and your inspiration. Mate, I loved watching you grow and continually achieve some amazing goals and accomplishments. Thank you for your time.
No, thanks very much for having me on, and looking forward to what the future holds for the both of us. Cheers.
Bye for now.